one of the things that started me walking with whitetails is we had genetics favoring albinism in whitetails locally. Uh, a whitetail doe that was normally colored gave birth to twin albino bucks. So I set out to document the first year of life of those twin albino bucks, and I was successful in doing so. Um, that's what started me walking with whitetails, and I've been doing it ever since.
What
Getting
did you
some
find out
amazing-
about the albino bucks that you spent time with?
Well, they dispersed from the local park where they were born, but due to their coloration, they were easy to keep track of.
I'm
They
sure. Yeah.
moved to the west, 5 miles or so. Actually, they set up in a cemetery, is where they ended up, and the one of them had 5 points as a yearling, and the other had 4 points. They were four-corn. One of the bucks disappeared after that fall. The second one, the buck that survived, grew a nice 9-point rack as a 2-year-old.
And how long did those bucks end up? I mean, obviously, albinism, that doesn't set you out for a good career or life from a predation perspective. So how long did you document those bucks living? And did they get pretty big?
The second albino disappeared after his second or third year. I didn't see him anymore, but we still have albino genetics in Marquette from those 2 bucks. At least the 2.5-year-old did some breeding prior to him disappearing, and we still have a number of albino deer in Marquette from their genetics.
Do you know off the top of your head how rare they are? Like 1 in 20,000, 1 in 90,000?
I'm not sure. They're more common than that here because of the prevalence of the genetics.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I mean, one just by itself, but one doe birthing 2 albino fawns. You don't hear that very often.
No, but in the park where I've walked with whitetails, there was at least 1 albino fawn born every year for 4 or 5 consecutive years because of the prevalence of the genetics.
That's really neat.
There was that. We had one around Grand Lake in Oklahoma, and everyone, I think they named it Snow White, or they nicknamed it Snow White, or Christmas. That's what it was. It was Christmas. Yeah, and that doe was 8 or 9 years old, and eventually it wandered onto the wrong property, and somebody shot it, like a hunter around the lake. And I mean, there was hell to pay online for who shot that deer, because everyone was like, that deer was a pet. It had been here almost a decade. Like, you're a POS. It was a big deal when they shot Christmas.
Well, even in Michigan here, where it's now legal to shoot albino deer, hunters who have done so legally have been criticized for it.
Oh, I'm sure.